Hello, all of you. Good evening. Welcome to another live streaming session from Entri English. I hope all of you are doing great. So please drop a comment and let me know if I'm audible in this session or not. All right. So let me take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Sri Lakshmi, belonging to the Entri family, and today I have come up with some vocab related to office. So the topic that we're going to deal today is called office vocabulary. So I can see some comments here. Hello, Shakir. How are you? Usha Ramesh. Good evening, Usha. How are you? Minisha Sajay. Hello, good evening there. How are you? Please drop a comment and tell me if you're all fine. So let me give you an idea right at the onset. It's going to be a small session. We'll be covering some very basic vocab related to office. So before we begin, I just would like to know from all of you, are you all doing great? Are you looking forward to this session? Yes, Usha, you're fine. Glad to know that. All right, Shakir, you're also doing good. Okay. So before we begin, I think I should tell you what an office is. So all of you know the term office, right? What's an office? So it's basically a place where you do your professional work, right? So a place where the professional work is done is known by an office. So now coming to office related vocab, we don't have much vocab here. We have basically some very few vocab, and those are at the basic level. So this is not an advanced vocab class. It's a normal, I would say, a beginner's level vocab in office. All right, we have some more people joining our live streaming session. Hi, Rashmita. I'm doing great. What about you? Sabi Bajabin, right? I think that's how your name is. If I misread it, please pardon. Good evening. How are you? Please drop a comments. Please drop a comment and tell me how you all are. So now I told you what an office is. It's a place where you can do your professional work, or it's a place where professional work is done. And now, an office need not be a place that's far from your home. It can be inside your home also. It can be any place where you do your professional work. So let's say if you're working from home and if you have a particular space assigned for your professional work, that also comes in the category of an office. Kavya Krishnan, hello, good evening, Kavya. How are you? You're good, Rashmita? All right, glad to know that. Hi, Vipunya. How are you? And Manoj George, hello. How are you? Vismi Hector. All right, you're good. Okay. All right. Now that we have defined an office, let's quietly jump to some terms. So basically, at an office, where would you sit? You sit on a chair and you have a desk in front of you and all of that, right? So there is a term for that space wherein you sit. There is a desk in front of you. You are sitting on a table, and then there are papers lying on the table and all of that. So that's your space, right? So what do you call that space? There is a particular space assigned for you. Let's say if you're an employee at any organization, there is a space where you work in. So that space is our first term. And before I introduce the term to you, let me just read the comments. So we fine. All right, good to know that. I'm good. Thank you for asking, Vipunya. All right, Kavya, you're good too. AP Thomas, good evening. How are you? All right, Asha has suggested an answer cabin, right? Vipunya workspace, all right. These terms, I mean, are right, but again, the professional term used is cubicle. It's not a cabin or a workspace, although you may address it by that way, but the right term is a cubicle. So basically, it's a cubicle, Cubicle. That's how you spell it. So cubicle is the place where you have your chair, your desk, and that's your place entirely. And let me tell you what workspace is. So, workspace is basically that place which is not exclusive for you. So, workspace is a common space. Okay. So, all the employees, or let's say all your colleagues, would be working in the workspace. But your particular space that is exclusive for you, that is a cubicle. All right. So, those who came up with the answers, fine, you tried well. Hi, Varsha. How are you? So, that's our first term, cubicle. Is this okay for all of you? Cubicle, cubicle. right? All right. Now let's move to another term. So in an organization, there are various hierarchies. By hierarchy, I mean you will have someone at the topmost position, and then you will have someone at the lower rungs according to the power structure, right? So who is called the person who is at the top, who occupies the most important position, or let's say whom you have to, not just report to, but who is the main person in an organization? How would you call that person as? Right, Shakir, it's cubicle. All right, Varsha, you're fine. Okay, glad to know that. So who is that immediate? Oh, it's not CEO. I didn't mean CEO. Even if it's a CEO, what would be the title for that person in an office circle? You can't address them directly as CEO, right? You call them as your, it starts with a B. That's the clue I can give. It's a four-letter word. Any answers, anyone? Head of the department. All right, Vipunya, head of the department actually happens in, like, let's say, in an organization that's academic related. Okay, if it's unacademic, then need not be. Right, I can see many answers. So Varsha has given the right answer. It's a boss, right? Usha Ramesh, again, very good. Asha K, good. Uh, Nidumangadu 007, right answer, good. Meenakshi, correct answer, good. Vipunya, right, good. Shakir, it's not MD, it's boss. All right, Muhammad Shafiq Vijay, correct, it's a boss. And those who joined right now, hello there, all of you, how are you? All right, so boss is our next term, and I hope this is clear. After cubicle, we move to the boss, right? Now, the next term in office vocabulary is, right, Nabila, it's boss. So when you go to an office, in order for you to contact someone there, or let's say to get a mail ID or anything, they all these things are embedded on something. So what is that? You can get something from them, like let's say when you ask for the contact details, they would give you something, a small paper, right? It's not a paper per se, but it's kind of a small, if I say the word, you're going to get it. What is that? That has all the relevant details of the organization, maybe the number, the mail ID, the person to contact, and it could include any kind of contact information. It's not managers, Rija. The correct answer was boss. All right, Ajit, you're fine. Okay, glad to know that. It's not HR, Vipunya. Shafiq, it's not admin, it's a boss. Right, Aishwarya, it's a visiting, it's not actually a visiting card, it's some sort of different. Not a visiting card, it's an office. Okay, so it's not, you don't call it visiting card if it's an office. Manoj, it's not admin, it's boss. Rashmita, again, it's boss. And Nidumangadu 007, it's not visiting card, it's a card, but not a visiting card. It's an office. So you need to be mindful of the term. And hello there, Rinish. How are you? Right, Usha, it's a business card. Very good. So the correct answer is business card. So this is our next term, business card. So basically, in an office, we know that it's a place, as I already said time and again, where professional work is done. And since it has that element of formality, you call that as a business card. It's not a visiting card. Visiting card is carried by businessmen or entrepreneurs to, you know, uh, get to people know more about them. But a business card is carried exclusively by an office or let's say by an organization. So it's a business card. It's not a brochure, Varsha. Brochure is different. So the term I want to bring forth is business card. Is it okay? The next term, business card. All right. I think let's move to the next term. So you know that in an office there would be some kind of meeting, right? Every now and then when the boss and the people they want to, conduct a meeting, they would conduct a meeting. Now, where are these meetings held? So there is a place in an office, a particular place where these meetings are held. So how do you call that place? Any idea? So this is our next term. Can anyone guess which place do we conduct meetings in an office? All right, Anish, you're splendid. All right. Yes, Meenakshi, you have the right answer there. It's a conference. Conference room, it is not hall. It's conference room, not hall. Okay. Ajit has also given the right answer. Minisha, right. Asha, correct answer, good. Aishwarya, right. Usha Ramesh, right. Shahnaz Abdul Majid, right. Vipunya, right. Vismi, it's conference room. Okay, it's not hall and it's not table too. Right answer, Varsha. Shafiq, it's not a boardroom, it's a conference room. You don't call it a meeting room. All right, Shafiq. So when a meeting is held in any office, you don't say that it's a meeting room. You have to use slightly professional wording for that. So that's why you call it as a business meeting, I mean, business conference room or simply conference room. Nini, Mary, baby, right? It's a conference room. Good answer. Nabila, correct. Lalita, right. Conference room it is. For those who have commented conference hall, slightly correct it. Okay, it's a room, not a hall. You call that place as a conference room, business conference room, but speaking of it, you can simply say conference room and not as a conference hall. Now, moving to the next term. So, the next term includes, let's say, if a project is given to all the employees in an office and there are various people with you. So, how do you call them? A various task is assigned to you, or let's say your colleagues for that matter. So, now you are functioning together as a something. So, what is that something? When a task is assigned with your colleagues, you have to gear up and you have to work with them together. So, together you form a, it starts with a T, a four-letter word. Working together with your colleagues, right? Right, I can see some answers. Right, Nini, it's a team. Good. Meenakshi, right? Team. It's not teamwork, team it is. So let me read out the answers. Aishwarya, correct answer, good. Ajit PV, it's not project team, it's team simply. Minisha, right answer, good. Team. Nedumangadu 007, team is the right answer. Usha Ramesh, correct. Glory Sam, correct. Team is the right one. Asha K, team. Varsha Vivi has also commented the right answer. Grishma Sitosh, correct. Vismi Hekta, it's not colleagues. I mean, the spelling, if you meant of colleagues, it's wrong. It's not the answer anyway. Nabila, right, it's team. Vipunya, team it is. Okay. Neena Panikar, right. Team is the right one. Good. Rashmita Sijo, team. Srija is subordinates. Subordinates are people who are actually lower than your position. They occupy a position that is sub to you, subordinates. So if you're talking of someone who are equally, I mean, in your capacity, then you call them as your colleagues, not as colleagues, which we Malayalis normally tend to pronounce. It's colleagues. All right. So the correct answer is team. The people working together with you, your colleagues. So that's a team. Now I think, yes, Vipunya, I know that it's mistyped. No worries. So those who work with you, they are not your subordinates. They are your colleagues. Okay. Never pronounce it as colleagues. It's not co. The sound is co. Colleagues. Right? Okay. Now another small term. So if you have to get a job at any office, let's say you saw a vacancy on some any platform, it could be Indeed, Naukri.com, anything. So in that case, how do you apply? You send your something to them. So what is it that you send? So it's a detailed thing that tells your basic qualification, work experience, if any, your address, your mail ID, your education, all those. So what's it? So Susan Joseph, hi there. Good evening. How are you? Right. So most of you are getting the answer right. Right. Nidmangadu 007, right answer. Meenakshi, resume, right. Vipunya, CV, Aishwarya, resume. Ninni, Mary, baby, resume, right, right. Shehnaz Abdul Majid, right answer. Grishma, correct. Asha, right. Sudhish Kumar KK, correct answer. Rashmita Sijo, right answer. Glory Sam, right answer. Varsha Vivi, right answer. Ajit CV, right answer. Minisha, right. Usha, correct answer. Shafiq, right answer. Nabila, right. Okay. Yeah, Thomas, right answer. Susan, okay, you're great. Okay, good to know that. Right answer, Ranish. Nina, correct answer. Srija, right. Ismi, right. Adrit, right. Okay. So now, okay, let me tell you here something. So there is a slight difference between resume and CV. Although we would be sending your resumes, it's not by data, Srija. By data is something different. You are not going to send your by data to them. You are going to send your resume or CV. So now, what is the slight difference between a resume and a CV? Can anyone come up with an answer? Let me see if anyone can come up, or I'll explain the term. Okay. So a resume is one where you present only the relevant details. For instance, your skills, your qualification, anything. Okay. So the length of a resume is ideally considered short. On the contrary, if you look at a CV, CV is abbreviation for cover letter, right? So cover letter is basically presenting a full history of your academic qualifications and credentials. So that's why a resume is a short and brief one, which includes only relevant facts and figures, whereas a cover letter, or what we call as a CV, tends to be elaborate and it consists of your academic credentials more. So the length varies, but again, this is the difference that resume will be slightly shorter in length and CV will be a bit elaborate. Right, you all are right. Resume does include personal details, but academic qualifications, your work experience, all that would be detailedly mentioned in a cover letter or a CV. Right, Ajit, right. More details, work experience, etc. Correct. Perfect answer. Right. Okay, Nina and Aishwarya are right. Correct. So you have all got it. So that's the basic difference between, yeah. I mean, yeah, curriculum vitae, right. I mean, not cover letter, I meant. Sorry for the confusion. It's curriculum vitae. I was beginning to add this that in spite of CV and this one, that is resume, you have a cover letter also sometimes. So that's what brought me to that point. CV is curriculum vitae. It was a mispronouncement from my end, a glide of tongue, I would say. So now what is a cover letter? Any idea on what's a cover letter? So when you make a CV, or let's say when you make a resume, you also sometimes make a cover letter. Okay. So cover letter is basically that document which encapsulates both of these. It is something that will have both the CV and the other thing, that is the real resume. And it is actually kind of an address and it explains the contents, like what are you going to include in that. That's it. Okay, so this is basically in the form of a letter. Remember that resume is not in the form of a letter and CV is also not in the form of a letter, but a cover letter, as the term in itself tells you, it's a letter. So the format is completely like a letter. And which kind of letter? We are talking about formal letters here. Okay, right. Aishwarya, yes, it's an introduction, right? It's a letter introduction, you would say. And Shafiq, right. Correct. When we apply for a job, we include a cover letter, right? So in the cover letter, you are going to mention that you are adding, you are enclosing your resume and your CV. Plus, it would be a letter wherein you address the person whom you send all this to. So the format is that of a letter. All right. Moving to the next term in an office. So the next term in an office is when you enter an office, maybe in one side or the other, on the wall, you can see a board basically, and wherein the details would be pinned. Maybe it could be some details related to the project you're working on, or it could be any important day that you're going to celebrate, or it could be any new information or any updation that would be posted on some board in an office. So what do you call that board? In schools, we had notice boards, right? So likewise, in an office, you have a board that is going to tell you any updations, or let's say going to tell you anything that's going to happen at your office. So Punya, it's not reception, it's a board. BOARD, board it is. Which board it is? It's not a notice board, it's a, all right, I think I'll introduce the term now. It's called a bulletin board. Okay. It's not a pin board again with me, it's a bulletin board. BULLETIN, bulletin board. Notice boards are there at other places, but in a workplace, you call that strictly as a bulletin board. All right. So bulletin board is our next term, and that's the place where you see all the information pinned. It could be an update, it could be about an event, it could be anything that the office wants the, let's say, the people to know, the employees to know. All right. Now, let's say if you're working at an office and that deals with a particular product, or let's say it has a particular right over a particular product, or let's say, or a service. So in that case, you say that your office has something on that particular product. It has some kind of a right. So what is that right called? Let's say you're dealing with pharmaceuticals, maybe. In that case, your office is, like say, deals with some particular product, some particular pharmaceuticals, and they have some rights over the product that they sell, right? So what is that called? It begins with a T. It's a legal term, right? It's not patent, Varsha, it's trademark. Right, Usha, you've got the right answer. So trademark is the option. I mean, it's the right answer. So trademark could be a symbol, it could be a word, or basically it's the legal registration and it is used by the company to establish the product. Right, Mimi, correct answer, good. Trademark it is. So trademark is that legal registration which tells you that a company has the right to own a particular product or a service. Now coming to again an office. So you know that in office you predict a lot based on, let's say, stock markets or anything. So again there is a term that is used for the predictions. It's not speculation. So that term is meant by, it's used in weather also, to predict or to estimate something in future. Any idea? All right, I'll introduce the term. It's called forecast. FORECAST. So any kind of prediction, or let's say any kind of estimate that you want to do in your office is known as a forecast. Right. Correct, Nini. Very good. Asha, correct answer. Aishwarya, it's not broadcast. That's different. This is forecast. You predict, you prophesize something. Prophesize means something is going to happen in future. Right, AP Thomas Paul, right answer. Glory Sam, correct answer. Rashmita, again, right answer. Forecast it is. Not broadcast, it's forecast. All right, I think we shall do one more term. So that would be, let's say if someone wants to open a new business venture, a small new business venture. So what do you call that? When you embark, when you begin on any venture, especially a commercial one, so that is called a, any idea? And these days you have so many of those lined up, right? It's called a, right, Asha. It's called a startup. Okay, it's a startup, right? Right. So who all have given the right answer? Shafiq, right? It's startup. Good. Glory Sam, it's not franchise, it's startup. Rashmita, correct. Startup. Mimi Mary Babu, correct answer. Varsha, it's not sole trader, it's a startup. AP Thomas, no, it's not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is different. When you own that business, that is entrepreneur. You say like Samrambagan or Samrambaka in Malayalam, that's entrepreneur, but not entrepreneurship. The word is startup. No, Vipunya, it's not contract, it's a startup. And Ajit, right answer, it's a startup. Right. Okay. It's not sole proprietorship, Kavya. No, it's a startup. All right. So, as I said, today's session is a small one. So, these are some basic office related vocab. We will be covering more of office vocab in maybe another session. So, this is going to come in parts, just as the previous ones, although we are yet to start with that. So, I hope at least some words would be new to your vocab, or even if it was a familiar one, I hope it has brushed up your memory in some way or the other. And I really believe you have had some value addition, some key takeaway from this, right? All right. So with that, we are about to conclude, and thank you so much, all of you, for your immense, overwhelming support. And I hope there are no queries. If you have, you can let me know with the terms that we just dealt with right now. And it's always a pleasure to interact with you all. All right. Thank you, Vibunya. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for joining in. It means a lot that you stay tuned in spite of your busy schedules. Thank you, Asha. Thank you, Usha. Thank you, Vipunya. Thank you, Nini. Nidumangadu 007. Thank you again. All right. Minisha, thank you. Visni, thank you. Varsha, thank you. A big thank you to all of you for joining the session. Thank you, Grishma. Thank you, Glory. Thank you, Ashit. All right. So let's call it a day. Thank you, Aishwarya. So see you in another session. And remember these words. Please keep it in your mind. And whenever you feel like using, try to make use of it. All right. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Meenakshi. All right. So let's call it a day. See you all in another live session. Okay. Thank you, Badra. All right. Good night. Have a great night ahead. All right. See you all later. Take care. Bye.